Again, this is kind of weird language, but I just want you guys to be aware of it. So I'm going to write out the directions, and then we're going to stop and take a few moments to go through the words, and then we'll do a practice problem. It says find all, you guys are all writing this down, integral values for, and we're going to use the variable k, for which the trinomial can be factored. Now, I don't make up these words. I literally take it from testing materials, okay? So the high school, now remember the high school placement test is written by a high school teacher who has been so entrenched in high school math that he doesn't know how to write for a middle school kid. He writes for a high school kid. Plus, you need to understand that the tests that you take, the high schoolers take that are in the algebra class. It's either a benchmark or a final. In the past, it's been a final. This year, it's kind of up in the air with things as they're transitioning because they're not being able to do as much Common Core on that test because most of the feeder middle schools have not gone to Common Core. So again, he tends to be very highfalutin in his language, and you have to be able to wade through it. Like that word problem we had on the Chapter 5 test, you can't be floored by the word astronomical and then that stump you from solving a math problem. You got to be able to get beyond that. So probably the weirdest word that shows up here is this word integral. Now think about something, a subject you've studied, not just this year, but we did study it this year, but you've been studying it pretty much, I think, since 6th grade. That sounds like that word. What do you think that word is? Noah?
Integrate?
Not integrate, that's a good word though. We tend not to use that word in math. That's more of a social studies words. Okay. Mr. Blurter, you're right, say it again.
Integer.
Raise your hand.
Josh James.
I had that.
You guys know it's recording, right?
Yes.
Yep.
James is being dissed publicly. Okay, when they're asking for integral values, they're asking for integers only. So what they're saying is you cannot have fractions or decimals as part of your answer. You can only have whole number answers. But integer means they could be positive, they could be negative. And that's the key part there. Okay, so here's what a problem would look like. I'm going to change it from the one we just kind of did a warm-up on. All right, so if we were attempting to play the game, the product number would be 10. The sum number would be k. So our job is to figure out what that sum number would be, right, Andy? Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is think of all the ways that I can multiply two factors, and in this case, get a positive 10. So the sign on the product number determines what math is going to happen with the factors I come up with in order to get that k value. So we have a positive 10. Two factors, anyone, they give me positive 10. Anyone, yell out.
2 times 5.
2 and 5, good.
Negative 2 and negative 5.
Negative 2, negative 5, good. What else?
1 times 10.
1 and 10. Anything else?
Negative 1 and negative 10.
Okay. Now, look at your factors, and what do you notice about signs on each pair?
They're the same.
They're the same. So what math would you do if signs were the same?
Add.
So we're going to add to get our k value. So we have 2 plus 5 is equal to 7. We have negative 2 plus negative 5 is equal to negative 7. We have 1 plus 10 is equal to 11. And we get negative 1 plus negative 10 is equal to a negative 11. So how you write the answer to this problem is you're simply being asked to figure out what k equals. Now you have two ways to show it. You can just list them. 7, negative 7, 11, negative 11. Or remember we talked about that plus minus sign if we have the same number but opposite signs. So we have positive negative 7, positive negative 11. Okay? And you're going to be asked to do a question like this on your test. So I just want to make sure you understand this. Okay? Any questions?
Is that the final answer?
That's the final answer. So you can either write it this way or you could write it this way.
Oh.
So those are your two choices. Rachel Lee.
How come, for the second term, it's KX, but there was a K in the, bottom of the X?
If you remember when we play the game, we never put the variable in the game. We're only looking at the coefficient of the linear term. So all we're looking for is the coefficient of the linear term. That's really K's role in that equation. Okay? All right, anything else? All righty.